data-driven CX. So Frank, about 2/3 of companies today, 2/3 of companies now compete on customer experience alone. This is compared to about 36% in 2010. So we can see why there's this huge demand, this huge uptake in companies trying to dominate their customer experience, trying to improve that customer experience, because there's a lot of competition. A lot of companies all look the same, feel the same, operate more or less the same, and they're offering the same amount of value to the client. So the way that you win is by differentiating the value of the product and service, which is already kind of where it's at to some degree. You differentiate on CX. So industry leaders in CX have been shown to outstrip the performance of CX stragglers by almost 80%. So according to one study. And then satisfied customers spend about 140% more on average and stay with the company 5 years longer if they have a good CX. So we're talking about like how to focus on that CX. It's data-driven CX. Follow the data. The data isn't lying here. To create a better CX, focus on the moments that matter. Use data to deliver effortless experience and empower agents to find solutions.
Well, traditionally in business, it's always been, price, quality, availability. And I would say that all things being equal, price, availability, quality, if you have a better CX, you will own the marketplace. And so it's not that these other things are important anymore, but the concentration and the building of your company around CX is critical. And what's really interesting, like in these stats here that you mentioned, is that there's a lot of data coming out now, how showing like a bad CX results in like brand abandonment, like people do not come back. And in many cases, more than 50% of the people that have a bad CX do not come back. Literally that is, and the level of sensitivity post-COVID alone is doing that. And it's, again, very, very powerful. Like when you're looking at this right here and you're saying like, you're looking at customer care, a lot of times customer care translates to a survey, doesn't it?
Yes.
Right. Like what's our NPS? You survey to get that. You want to find out voice of customer. And, they did a survey of companies that they asked, and this was a Bain study, I think in 2018, they said of companies that were polled and asked whether they thought they provided great customer experience, like 80% of them said, yes, like we do. They took the same customers from those companies and polled them. And it was a shade over like 9% of those people said that those companies provided great customer service. Like the disparity in what people know and what they think and what actually is a chasm. So, and therein lies the opportunity.
Wow. Oh, that's great stuff. So Frank, as you know, I'm going through the mortgage process right now. I'm probably opening up a can of worms saying this live, but I'm going through the mortgage process right now, and we did a new build. So there's a builder, lender, and then there's everybody else, right? That's basically.
And they're lenders.
Yeah, and then there's lenders, and quite literally, I am walking away from a lot of money that they would pay out. I'm walking away from that money to go work with a different lender because of the experience, because the experience is completely awful on one side, completely amazing on the other side. And I'm willing to pay more money for that better experience for the same product. It's the exact same product. Yeah. It's a mortgage.
Less friction.
And it's a mortgage. It's not a sexy product. It's just like, we got to get it done. But
it's pretty sexy when you want a house.
That's true. But the end result of how we get there, the journey of how we get there, it matters. And whoever helps me get there the best, I'll pay for that.
And you know what? Here's one thing too. I just want to like add on top of that is, like good CX builds a better relationship. And so like what you're getting now out of that, like you feel like you're in right relationship with those people. They're serving you and you can feel it. And they're now lifting a load that you were having to carry before. That's CX right there. And so, yeah, that's awesome. Great story.
Yeah. Now, that's not to say you're going to wake up one day and say, we've arrived, we've adapted. It's a constant struggle and a constant battle to continuously adapt.
We've adapted. We're there.
Here.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist.
Well, there's a great saying that kind of builds on what you just mentioned, which is like, how do you open up a small business? You open up a big one.